Yes, we have done with SLR, right? So the difference between CRR and SLR, sir, in CRR, why banks put their some money compulsory in RBI? We discussed this yesterday in detail. At the end of the discussion, uh, we discussed it in detail. Next concept, liquidity adjustment facility, and it is basically known as LAF, and that is the most popular instrument. That is the most popular instrument used by Reserve Bank of India to regulate the liquidity in the economy, right? So uh, what I told you yesterday, that whenever RBI is announcing, or the Monetary Policy Committee is announcing the monetary policy, people are always keen. They are keen, and they are looking for the repo rates, nothing else. They are only looking for repo rates. Even if you see in the news, whenever there is announcement of the policy, this every newspaper is talking about that repo rate unchanged or key interest rates unchanged, because it is the LAF, that is repo rate and reverse repo rate, which is the focus of every monetary policy announcement. That's it, right? So LAF is a monetary policy tool primarily used by the RBI to manage liquidity and provide economic stability. It allows banks to borrow money through repurchase agreements, or for banks to make loans to the RBI through reverse repo agreements. ठीक है, अभी समझते हैं हम इसको क्या है. See, I'll start with an example. For example, the banks are planning the need of the money in the coming future, right? And for example, this is month of August, and in North India, I don't know about South India, we are having that Pitr Paksh, right? Shraddh, very popularly known as. And it is understood that during that time, people are not purchasing anything, they are not doing any business transactions. It's only uh, their understanding, right? It's right or wrong, I can't comment on that, but in North India it is being followed. And secondly, everybody did business transactions or purchase anything. I think it is practiced across India that during the Navratras, the people are borrowing money from the banks. They are taking, they are buying the things, and for that they are uh, basically purchasing the things. Sir, some wind sound was disturbing at your background voice. Okay, is it clear now? Actually, when my voice is slow, then other voices take control. Is it clear now? Am I clear, or still it is there?
You're clear enough, sir, but there is some sound in the background, like maybe some fan sound or something.
Fan is there. Fan is there. Wait, I have to. Actually, I was having cold. That's why I'm not using AC. That's why there's an issue. So I think now it's okay, right?
Yes, sir, it's
Yes,
fine.
sir. Okay, sir.
Now see, so what happened in North India, that people, this it is said to be the festive season during Navratras, and the festive season starts with Navratras, and this continues for until Diwali, right? So what happens, that banks are having almost constant. They are having NDTL. Their NDTL is constant. It's not like that during the time of Diwali the money, huge money is coming to them. It's not like that. So during the time of Navratras, banks anticipate that people will demand more money in the form of loans from the banks, right? For example, SBI is having 500 crores of NDTL in the month of this, for example, before Shraddh, September. And they anticipate that during the time of Navratras, the demand of loans will be increased by 100 crores. Right? It's just an example. So from where does this money comes, right? Because if you see, every bank is in need of the money at that time. Every bank needs money at that time, because everybody knows, might be SBI is needing 100 crores. Other banks might need 50 crores, 10 crores. So everybody is in need of the money at that time. Now, what happens, from where does this money comes from? This money, and RBI is said to be the banker of banks. Banker of bank. What does it mean? That means, like, if a common man is approaching the bank for the purposes of loans, in the similar manner, if a bank is in need of the money, then RBI act as a bank to the banks. That's why Reserve Bank of India is said to be banker of bank. Now, what happens that what SBI will do during the time of Navratras, they will take loan from the Reserve Bank of India. They will take the loan of 100 crores. First thing, what will be the basis of which rate will decide this lending? The rate at which Reserve Bank of India is giving loans to the banks is referred to as repo rate. That's it. In simpler words, repo rate is nothing but it is the rate bank, it is the interest rate at which Reserve Bank of India is providing loans to the financial institution, that is banks. That's it. First thing, it is said to be repurchasing option. Why it is repurchasing option? Because I told you that there will always be an exchange. It's not like that Reserve Bank of India is giving money to the bank and without any mortgage. No, Reserve Bank of India will ask for government securities of 100 crores from State Bank of India. And there will be an agreement on that particular day. SBI will say that I will repurchase my, sorry, I will, you have to repurchase your, okay, sorry, these government securities is of SBI. So SBI is having an agreement with the bank that I will repurchase the government security which I have put with you, and I will be paying your 100 crores back. So repurchase means the State Bank of India will purchase its government securities by giving back 100 crores plus repo rate interest, repo interest, जो भी interest होगा, right? So this is basically repurchasing option. Repurchasing because SBI is agreeing upon that it will repurchase its government securities which has been given to RBI in the form of mortgage. That's it. So in the starting, this bank will be giving government security as collateral. Bank, this RBI will be giving 100 crores to SBI. At the maturity, this government security which was put with RBI as mortgage will be taken back by State Bank of India. That's why it is said to be repurchasing option. And this cash fund plus interest will be given back to Reserve Bank of India. That's it. So again, it is the interest rate at which Reserve Bank of India is giving loans to the banks. That's it. Secondly, whatever we are discussing here, right, throughout monetary policy, whatever we will be discussing, this money is being lended for short term. Remind it. Whatever we are discussing, whenever the government securities are transacted, these are for the short term, overnight liquidity. Is said to be an overnight liquidity. Basically, it's less than 1 year. It is less than 1 year, right? It is said to be overnight liquidity because many times it is for 7 days, 14 days, 28 days, and up to maximum of 3 months. Banks are taking this money only maximum for the 3 months. That's why it is said to be overnight liquidity. Right? Now see its implication. If repo rate is increased, right? If repo rate is increased, then what will happen? For example, initially the repo rate is 5%, and it becomes, normally it's in the range of 4 to 5, let it be 4.5, and it becomes 5.5. When this rate of interest become 5.5, then what will happen? It means that bank is getting loans at the costly rates. That's it. When bank is getting loan at the costly rate, then simply bank will be giving you this loan at higher interest rates. When bank is giving you something at the higher interest rate, that means you are demotivated. That means liquidity in the market will reduce. For example, you have planned that I will be purchasing car of 10 lakh rupees, right? And you have your calculations set that the interest rate are 6%. Now suddenly what happens? That interest rate of SBI become 8%. That means it disturbed all your calculations. Then you said that, okay, I have to wait for 2 3 more months. That means you canceled your proposal or your plan for buying the car, because the loan becomes costlier, and that's why it means that money 8 lakh, that money 10 lakh which was about to come into the market is not there in the market. That means liquidity is reduced in this case. Including a moratorium period, is it 1 year, sir? For what you are asking, including of moratorium period, I didn't get you. See, Bhaskar, I think you are confusing. See, I am telling that we will discuss all these things, including it is short-term loans through repo. Yes, see, there is another thing. There are two things. Whatever we are discussing, basically, it's a part of call money market, right? We'll be tackling with all such in the topic of call money market. So in call money market, basically these are said to be the short term loans, because the maximum time limit for these loans is 1 year, right? It is the maximum time limit is 1 year. That's why it is said to be overnight liquidity, short term liquidity. That's why I have used the term overnight liquidity. Overnight means normally it's for very short term, 7 days, 14 days, right? But maximum it can go up to 1 year, right? So here we see that if repo rate decreases, that means initially it was 5.5% and it becomes 4.5. That means initially this rate of interest by SBI was 8%, then it becomes 6%. That means you were motivated to have the loan from the State Bank of India because loan becomes cheaper, right? So that means if repo rate is increasing, then interest rate is increasing, and that means liquidity is decreasing. That means repo rate is inversely proportional to the liquidity, right? Marginal standing facility. Wait, is go. I'll come to this next. Now, I was discussing one thing that I took the example of this Shraddh. I was talking about Shraddh, and I was saying that bank is having 500 crores of rupees in the month of Shraddh, and at this time, bank knows that this money is lying idle with me. This money, 500 crore, is lying idle with me, or bank analyzes that out of this, I will only be giving 200 crores in the form of loans, and I will be having 300 crores with me, which will be of no use, right? That money will lie idle with me because during the Shraddh, nobody is going to borrow money from me. Then what is the option before? Reserve Bank of India, oh sorry, bank, SBI. This SBI will park this 300 crore with RBI. This SBI will park this 300 crore with RBI, and RBI will be paying interest on this 300 crores. RBI will be paying 300 interest to on this 300 crores. right? There is another way when you see the definitions of reverse repo. This is basically reverse repo. That means in this case, in the repo case, bank was paying interest rate. In this reverse repo, RBI is paying interest rate, right? Second thing. Third thing, in many definitions, you'll find that the definition is being defined as the interest at which the RBI borrows money, right? Basically, RBI does not, in normal times, RBI practically does not borrow the money, but it is the bank which is parking the money with the RBI, right? This is said to be borrowing because it's the same thing. Either you are parking the money or it appears as if RBI is taking money from bank, but it is basically parking of the money by State Bank of India with RBI, right? Second thing. Again, it's not like that RBI has taken 300 crores from the bank. In lieu of it, this RBI is also giving collateral to the bank. I told you whenever there is any transaction, it is always with the mortgage, with the collateral. So in the first case, bank put collateral with RBI. Now in this case, in the case of reverse repo rate, this Reserve Bank of India is also putting collateral with the bank. The rate which is being given by RBI when bank is parking extra money with Reserve Bank of India is said to be reverse repo rate. That's it, right? Now you have to understand its implication. Implication in the sense that, for example, reverse repo rate was 4%, right? And it now becomes 5%. Reverse repo becomes 5%. Now see, you have to understand with a different understanding. When Reserve Bank of India has increased rate of interest, then bank will prefer to park its money with the RBI, right? Bank will be motivated to park its extra money with RBI rather than giving it in the form of loans, because bank knows that RBI is the most credible institute. There are zero chances of conversion of the loan into NPA. So if the reverse repo rate is higher, that means more and more money is parked with RBI. For example, the bank was having 300 crore rupees extra and reverse repo rate increases. Now what bank will do? Bank will park all the money with RBI. When bank has parked all money with RBI, that means money left with bank is less. That means less liquidity, right? Or you can say when there will be less liquidity with the bank, that means what it will do? It will increase the interest rates. That's it. In the other case, if reverse repo rate decreases from 5 to 4, that means bank will prefer to give loans to the people rather than putting it with the RBI. Right? That means there will be more money with the banks, and which will eventually lead to less interest rates. So this is how this reverse repo rate functions, right? Is it clear or not? Anybody who is not clear with this? Repo rate and reverse repo rate. Who is not clear?
For me, it is
Sir,
clear, sir.
हाँ जी बताइए.
sir, what is the current repo rate of RBI, sir?
It is around 3. It is in between 3 to 4, right? Exact you can I'll let you know, but it's less than 5%. It's less than 5%.
Sir, also, I didn't quite get that government security, sir. Like when bank borrows loan from RBI, RBI asks for a government security to repurchase. Could you give an example for that? I didn't quite understand that.
See, I tell you that whenever there is any exchange of cash, right? Market that whenever, be it RBI, be it bank to bank, be it bank to government, whenever there is transaction of cash, it is with government security. One person is giving, see, simple. I started with it like whenever you are going to take loan from bank, right? Then what you do? You put papers of your home with the bank. In the similar manner, when anybody is taking money from anybody, for example, bank is going to take money from RBI. So what is the guarantee? What is the guarantee of the bank? The guarantee is being provided by that government security. So government security is nothing but it's a guarantee. It's a collateral, and collateral has to change its place in case of anybody is borrowing the money. So it's nothing about example, but it's a fact. You have to give government security when you are borrowing. That's it. You have to borrow. You have to put your government security in the form of collateral.
Okay, sir.
Right. Uh, Sir, could you please distinguish between reverse repo rate and CRR? See, reverse repo, first thing that this CRR and this SLR is a part of variable reserve ratio, first thing. These are basically ratios. And repo rate and reverse repo rate are basically interest rates. First, this is the difference. Secondly, in case of CRR, you are putting your money with Reserve Bank of India, and that is lying idle. While reverse repo rate is basically your money is not idle, right? Okay, you, Anu, yeah. By this question, you have reminded me a very important thing, which I'll explain. Wait, let me put it here. Otherwise, I'll forget to explain. Incremental CRR. Actually, when I'll be discussing unconventional monetary policy, please remind me of incremental CRR if I forget to explain. Incremental CRR, right? ध्यान रखिएगा इस चीज को. When I'll be discussing unconventional monetary policy, please remind me of incremental CRR. I will explain it. So reverse repo rate is nothing but in case of reverse repo rate, your money is not lying idle with the bank. While in case of CRR, your money is lying idle with the bank. Secondly, CRR is a ratio. Reverse repo rate is an interest rate. And can you repeat what exactly reverse repo rate is? See, reverse repo rate is nothing but the money which you are putting with RBI is not lying idle what it was in case of CRR. In this case, if you are putting money with RBI, then RBI has to pay certain amount of interest in it, right? Reverse repo rate is less than repo rate because when RBI is this better to understand is when you keep your money in the form of FD with the bank, then FD will always giving you less interest rate in comparison to if you are seeking for home loan from the bank. Home loan rates are always higher than your FD rates, right? Because banks, Reserve Bank assumes that there are operational charges if I am giving you the loans. That's why reverse repo rate are always less than the repo rate. That's it. Now, this is a summary of this all these parameters on the liquidity. So as a general understanding, if CRR is increased, SLR is increased, repo rate is increased, and reverse repo rate is increased, then liquidity will decrease. That means all these terms, CRR, SLR, repo rate, reverse repo rate, are inversely proportional to liquidity. It's a thumb rule, right? But again, I am telling you, it's okay that it's a thumb rule, but whenever you are doing UPSC questions, please follow the question rather than following this thumb rule, right? Because they might ask you something different rather than your thumb rule, right? Monetary policy transmission. Wait, I have left one thing. I have incremental CRR. I left this thing. Marginal standing facility. When we were discussing that if a bank has to borrow money from Reserve Bank of India, then it's using government security. First thing, that government security was basically the government security which the bank was having extra, right? Because when I was discussing SLR, then I said that at least 20% NDTL is to be kept in the form of government security or gold, right? That means I assume that all the 20% of the amount is kept in the form of government security, first thing. Now, and besides this, government was having around 5% of the government security besides this SLR mandate. Now that means bank can have loans of up to 5% of the NDTL, because bank has to put government security in lieu of the loan, and the bank was having only 5% extra government security with it. Now there might be a situation when there is no government security left with the bank. What is the option? And it needs money. That means time is of Diwali and bank has exhausted all its government security. Then is there any possibility to have the loan from the Reserve Bank of India? Yes, there is a possibility. Now the RBI has a provision or an arrangement that bank can use the government security of SLR. This was a mandate of bank to have this 20% of NDTL in the form of government security under SLR. But now they are saying that you can use these SLR government securities, you can use these government securities for exchange purposes, right? But you have to be penalized by the Reserve Bank of India in the form of penalty rate. Right? So it's a facility under which scheduled commercial banks can borrow additional amount of overnight money from Reserve Bank of India's marginal standing facility. It comes into scenario when banks have exhausted their limits of borrowing under LAF window. LAF window is nothing but you are having extra government security beyond this SLR arrangement, right? And that extra government security was used for taking loans from the Reserve Bank of India. Once you have exhausted this, now you can use the government security of SLR. Is there limit government security? Is there limit? I didn't get your question, Chandrasekhar. Will you please repeat it? Or you can ask me in audio, because I didn't get your question.
Sir, is there limit in government securities?
What sort of limit? That how much you can invest?
Like if, sir, government securities are given in bonds, no, sir?
See, government, it's up to the bank. Bank has to decide on that how much they have to invest in the government securities. See, it's again the decision of the bank. And bank, for example, if you see this scenario, whatever is going on since the last 5 or 10 years, you will find that NPAs of the banks are increasing. When the NPAs are increasing, when the industrialists are converting the assets of the bank into NPA, that means there is pessimistic ecosystem in the economy. Then bank will always prefer to put their money into the safe investment. And what is the safe investment? Government security is the safe investment. So it depends upon the economic ecosystem, right? If the economy was good, for example, I don't know whether I have discussed it or not, during the time of 2008 to 2014, what was happening? Everything was goody goody. So what was happening? Everybody was investing. So when everybody was investing, that means governments were also getting the returns. So what was happening? Governments were very much happy by giving loans to the people or investor. Then at that time, why bank will prefer to put their money in the government security? Because in government security, the bank is having or getting a rate of interest which will be around 6 to 7%, right? But in case of giving loan to the individual, the rate of interest becomes 8.9, 8 to 9%. So there is a difference of 1 to 2%. This the gap of 1 and 2% is very huge in banking terms, right? So if everything is okay, if the bank is anticipating that the economy is doing good and they will get their money back, then definitely they will be giving it in the form of loans. But when the ecosystem is negative, when there is no returns on their investment or their assets, then bank will prefer to invest their money in the government security. So it's up to the bank. The bank has to decide, right? And it depends upon the situation. It's not any thumb rule that bank is or any limit on government security. Yes, there is limit on the government security in case of SLR. They have to keep certain amount of money of NDTL in the form of SLR. That is a mandate. But besides that mandate, there is no mandate on government on bank to invest in the government security. It's up to the bank. Bank has to take a call, nothing else. I think it's clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So when the bank has exhausted its limit of this normal government security, then they can opt for MSF, and that means they will use the government security in SLR, but that will be accompanied by a higher interest rate. So if you see in general, this thing reverse repo is less than repo and repo is less than MSF. That's it. Monetary policy transmission, it's nothing but I already explained that when the Reserve Bank of India is announcing any policy, then it has to be ultimately passed on to the consumer, that is economy. So if the Reserve Bank of India is reducing interest rate by 5 to 4, that means, and the commercial bank is charging for example 8%, so effectively there should be a reduction of at least 0.75%, right, or 0.5%. So if bank is doing this, right, then that means this monetary policy which was announced by Reserve Bank of India is taking effect, because the effect is seen when this monetary policy is how the common man is feeling that monetary policy. If there is change in the monetary policy, if this change is reflected at the common man, then it's okay. That means the monetary policy transmission is perfect. If it is not taking place, then it's not perfect. So it's the mechanism in which a monetary policy signal from RBI is transmitted to the economy through the financial market, right? Bank rate is the rate at which RBI lends money to the banks for long tenures, right? Whatever we have discussed was for overnight, right? But bank rate is a term which is for the long tenures, more than 1 year. Basically, it's for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. And your normal rates of the banks are not decided by this. Reminded, these long tenure bank rates does not define the common interest rates in the economy. This is basically the common rates are decided by LAF, liquidity adjustment facility, that is repo and reverse repo, mostly repo. Repo decides the interest rates in the economy. Base rate, see, base rate was the rate which was prior to MCLR regime. I'll explain MCLR, marginal cost of lending rate. Now see, when the Reserve Bank of India prior to 2015 was announcing or reducing the interest rates, then it was always requesting, advising or guiding the commercial banks that why you are not reducing the bank rates, right? They're always requesting the banks, right? So after this MCLR regime, the Reserve Bank of India came up with a formula, and that formula has what was right. So MCLR is nothing but it is giving you a formula, right? So I was telling you prior to 2015, what was happening, the Reserve Bank of India was requesting the banks to implement monetary policy to reduce the rate. But after this, but the banks were not doing so. Can anybody tell me that why banks were reluctant to reduce the interest rate, even if the RBI has reduced the interest rate? Anybody? Anybody? Why banks were reluctant or even are reluctant to pass on all things, all the reduction in interest rate to the customers? Any idea?
Sir,
बोलिए बोलिए.
Sir, the interest rate of fixed deposits were fixed. They couldn't change that.
No, due to very good. Shrikant, very good. They wanted to earn profit or balance through this way, favoring two big mans. No, Bhaskar. Shrikant is to an extent right. Anybody else? Any other point? Now, see, if you see the banks and see the nature of functioning of the bank, what banks are doing? Banks are giving interest rate of 7.1 on the PPF accounts, first thing. Second thing, banks are NPAs are being created, right? That means, and third thing, if you see other schemes, for example, if you open Sukanya Samriddhi scheme with any bank, that means it has to pay higher interest rate on these schemes. What does it mean? It simply means that bank are facing certain losses on other things, like they are paying higher interest rate on PPF, they are having issues of NPAs, right? That means they have to compensate all these things. Right? From where will they compensate NPAs? From where they will compensate the higher interest rate given by them on PPF or Sukanya Samriddhi scheme and such other schemes? That has to be compensated from other loans. That's why the banks are reluctant to pass on all the benefit of monetary policy announcement to the customer. Right? This is the reason. So coming again to this. So after the adoption of the MCLR, prior to this MCLR concept, what was happening? There was a base rate. There was a threshold below which bank will not provide its loan to the customers. But after the MCLR, the base rate was replaced by MCLR, and it is now a formula which will decide the rate of interest to be given by the bank to the last customer, and it is mathematical formula, right? Market stabilization scheme. uh, See, prior to market stabilization scheme, we will try to understand sterilization. Sterilization, if you talk in medical terms, it's nothing but disinfection. You are disinfecting something, and that is sterilization. So in the economy, disinfection means either the huge liquidity or no liquidity in the economy. So sterilization is basically neutralizing this, right? Neutralizing either the more liquidity or less liquidity. And that liquidity is basically about the liquidity of foreign money, right? That means if there is excess of dollar, huge dollar, right? That means RBI has to intervene to neutralize this effect. If there is less dollar in the economy, then RBI has to neutralize by supplying more dollar in the economy. That is sterilization, right? Then market stabilization scheme. Now I'll tell you a story. In 2004, when Vajpayee was there and NDA government was there, and it was a time, if you can recall, that India shining, very popular term at that time, India shining, right? And at that time, what happened that uh, there was huge inflow of FDI in the country, huge money was inflowing, dollar was there, and then it was basically disturbing that I told you the trilemma of RBI. It was disturbing the exchange rate. Then RBI has to take certain steps to stabilize the economy. The simple method to stabilize the economy is to put out dollar from the economy. How it is being taken out of the economy? Simply, you have to, I already told you that whenever there is infusion or absorption of the money or dollar or rupee, it is accompanied by treasury bill, that is government security, right? So that means when RBI has to take out of RBI has to take out a dollar from the economy, that means it has to inject treasury bill, first thing. When you are putting treasury bill in the economy, or you are taking out this money from the economy, that means you have to pay interest to someone, right? Now, because in this, dollar was to be taken out, dollar was to go to the government. Normally what happens when government is taking dollar or rupee from the economy, it has to pay the interest, right? This is the basic fundamental. Now what happens, government said to RBI that I am not in need of this dollar. Why should I put out this dollar from the economy and pay interest to the people? Then that was a very important question in the term that if government has to pay interest on this money which was to be put out from the economy, then it can increase the fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit, only understand that the losses of the government, right? Fiscal deficit will increase. Then both the government and the Reserve Bank of India came on a consensus or concluded that yes, we will have an arrangement. And that arrangement was basically market stabilization scheme. The scheme says that it will be a special arrangement, right? It will be a special arrangement. And in this arrangement, this dollar, which will be collected from the market, will be kept in a separate account. This dollar will not be used by the government of India. Rather, this dollar will be lying idle in this separate account. That means this dollar will never come into the economic cycle. That means there are no chances of inflation, first thing. Second thing, the main issue, the main concern was of fiscal deficit. Then Reserve Bank of India said that, okay, don't worry, neither you will be using this money, nor the interest paid by you on this dollar will not be part of the fiscal deficit. You have to pay the interest. You have to pay the interest, but this interest will be kept as a separate account. It will not be accounted for the fiscal deficit purpose, right? So this is basically market stabilization scheme, and this is for special times. Sir, can you repeat sterilization? See, sterilization is nothing but you are disinfecting your economy if there is either huge inflow or huge outflow of foreign currency, right? Huge inflow or huge outflow. So in market stabilization scheme, what was happening? Market stabilization scheme, there was huge inflow of foreign currency. So both of them concluded that yes, we have to take out this dollar. Why they were taking out the dollar from the economy? So that the market can be stabilized. That's why this market stabilization scheme is nothing but it is the sterilization of the economy, right? So can we see that through sterilize? MSS is basically nothing but a process to sterilize the economy. Sterilization is just a process. It's a process or a situation. Sterilization, when you see, if you go to the doctor, right, what it do when he's injecting you, then you will see that, or if he's using a thermometer, right, then thermometer, if he has used thermometer with you, then what the doctor does with the thermometer, it is sterilized. He will wipe it off with the Dettol, right? That is, sterilization is basically a process, right? Nothing else. And MSS is basically doing nothing but sterilization. MSS is an arrangement, is a facility, is an instrument which is used in special times, and it ensures sterilization in the economy. That's it. Shrikant, I think it's clear now. Okay. Unconventional monetary policy. I already told you that unconventional monetary policy means for special times. That then why can this dollar be used by government? When can they, under what conditions? I told you, if you see this PPT, it is very clearly said that this dollar is not used by the government, right? Government cannot use this money, and this money is to be kept in the separate account. That's why I'm telling you, this is very special scheme. This scheme is not invoked every time, right? It is used very cautiously. Unconventional monetary policy for unconventional times. Quantitative easing is the best example of unconventional monetary policy. See what happened in quantitative easing. Basically, normally what happens that whatever transaction is taking place, it is based upon repo rates, right? Now, this repo rate is basically dealing with short-term money, right? So whatever we have discussed, we are talking about short-term money, right? Less than 1 year. Now, if you see, when the bank has exhausted everything, that means bank has taken out all the government security, short-term government security, and injected all the money in the economy, then government is left with no option to inject extra money in the economy. Then government is left with one option. Government knows that they are having long-term securities. That means the security which are having tenure of 5 year, 10 year, 15 years. This money was supposed to be in the economy after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, right? If government is taking that government securities, long-term securities out of the economy, right, then this money which was supposed to come after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years at once enters into the market. That means this liquidity enters into the market at the same point of time, while this money was supposed to come after 5 years, 10 years, or 15 years. That means it's the extra liquidity which is entering the economy, right? This is basically quantitative easing, and it happens in US. So what US did, US purchased big volume of long-term bonds from banks. These banks, long-term bonds were with the these banks, and in lieu of that long-term bonds, what government has to do? Government has to give cash, right? So this cash which was supposed to come after 5 years or 10 years was injected in the economy. That means this was extra money supply, unconventional money supply, which was supposed to come after 5, 10, 15 years, that was supplied in the economy, right? That's why it is said to be the unconventional. If you want to see its effect, quantitative easing, basically what happens, इसका ना आप effect पढ़ के आइएगा. I am giving it to you as homework. Please go through what was the impact of quantitative easing on developing banks, developing countries. So you can take the help of this cartoon, right? This cartoon is explaining that. So better you do the homework. Actually, I want to cover one thing: incremental CRR. Negative rate policy is nothing but negative rate policy is, for example, if you people are putting money in the bank. So what's happening? The bank is paying you certain amount of interest. For example, on saving account, it will be, for example, in India, it's now gaining 2.3% something rate. So prior to 5 or 6 years back, it was around, the bank was giving you 6% interest rate. It is said to be positive rate policy. Now imagine if bank says that if you put 100 rupees with me, then I'll charge you, I'll be giving effectively -1% rate of interest. That means if you put 100 rupees with me, then I'll be giving you back 99 rupees. Then what will be its impact? You will be demotivated to put money with the bank. That is basically negative rate policy. What was happening during the time of recession? People were not investing the money. They were not putting money into the market. They were putting money into the banks. There was no demand in the economy. Then banks came up with the idea of negative rate policy, that if you put money with us, then we will charge you negatively. That means you should not put money with us. Rather, you should put money, you should invest the money into the economy. So this was very popular in European countries and Japan. Helicopter money, I discussed it you with yesterday that it was popularized by our CM, KC Rao. And helicopter money is nothing but you are giving money to the people without any accountability. You are not expecting that this money is coming back to you. It's sort of a universal basic income, right? So you are not expecting that money in return. You are giving this money only to promote the concept of cleanse the well and fill the well, right? And you are just giving money to the people so that they can put that money to the market. That's it. That money will effectively create demand in the economy. It will make economy uh, this virtuous cycle will move when there will be demand in the economy, right? So this is only the objective of helicopter money. Now, incremental CRR. It will clear your doubt who was asking. Some very good question was asked by, I think, somebody. See, the difference between reverse repo rate and CRR. What happened during the time of demonetization? It was very peculiar situation during the time of demonetization. It was like banks were having huge lot of money, right? But that money was not available to the people in the form of loans. First thing. That means the situation was like that everywhere is water, but no water to drink. Yani if you are in sea, that everywhere there is water, but you are not having water to drink. Like the situation in Chennai, they are surrounded by sea, but they are not having water to drink. Right? First thing. So what happens that everybody was having money, bank was having money with them. Money cannot be given in the form of loans to the people. What were the options available before the banks? The Can anybody tell me that what were the options left before the bank? What can the bank do with that money, which it was having huge money was with the banks? What were the options with the banks? Anybody? थोड़ा सा use the common sense. Very good, very good, very good, very good. Very good. You got the point. There were two options. They were the best option left with the banks were that they can put that money with RBI in the form of reverse repo rate. That means it was nothing but attention for Reserve Bank of India, because Reserve Bank of India has to pay interest on the money if the banks were putting money with RBI, right? So RBI is also smart. She came with a provision of incremental CRR. RBI said that now you people are not supposed to put only 3% with me. Now you have to put 6% of your money with me. That means RBI did not give a chance to the banks to park their money, extra money with them and earn interest on it. Rather, it asked the banks to deposit the money with the RBI, and that too without paying any interest. You get my point? So incremental CRR was to deal with the unconventional situation of demonetization, in which there was a huge liquidity with the banks, and banks can park that money with RBI and earn interest on that. So to avoid that, RBI came up with the idea of incremental CRR, right? And the basically it was an attempt to do away with that interest load, right? So this is incremental CRR. Rest I'll continue tomorrow.